Hi friends, so welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the air intake system and the air intake selection, why we need the air intake system, the awesome fundamentals for the air intake system. So basically, the my knowledge sharing on air intake system is like um, why we need the intake system in front of the engine is like to provide the clean air to the engine. So when we place some air intake system in front of the engine to suck the clean air, it will create the restriction in the system. So the basic fundamental to select the engine is like it will create the pressure drop within the limit. So that the engine performance should not deteriorate when we will select a particular air intake system for the automobile sector or for a particular engine. And the secondary function which drives from the air intake system, it reduce the airflow noise, which is like it will create a laminar flow to the engine cylinder. And the third secondary function is like we need to place the air intake systems somewhere in somewhere at the machine location where it should not suck the vapor, dirt, chemical waste, or the exhaust gas back into the air, back into the engine. Also the air inlet restriction limits are also certified for the particular engine. So what are the causes if we will not place the air intake system? It will create a basic cost. Basic cause is like problem create without air intake system is like the turbocharger wear, compression wear, bearing wear. So it will get like the dirt and the other vapors should get into the intake system, which will create which will tear down the engine components as well as the bearing failure, also the heavily contaminated oil, also the gases, exhaust gas back into back into the intake system, or some other dirts will damage our engine system. So the benefits for the fine filtration is like to prevent the engine failure, which we have already discussed, like what will be the cost for the contamination. Also, it will reduce the cost of the component repairs. The engine repairing cost is very high compared to the changing filter elements in the system. And it will also create the better fuel economy, which is like it will give you the air equal performance because of the laminar flow. Also, the manifold is designed in such a way, intake manifold is designed in such a way that exhaust gas should get out from the engine system. So what is the like a low cost big impact with tracked change interval or when needed? It should also give the lower emissions for the exhaust gases. So the challenges in designing the new air filters, like the challenges is nowadays, like we are going for the BS4 and BS6 emission norms where the packaging is a very constrained. So also we need the improved contamination separation efficiency more than 99.9%. We need almost a clean air, 100% clean air for the engine system to meet the BS4 and BS6 norms. Low initial and overall airflow restriction to have more volumetric efficiency. We need a small air filter element to place in the packaging. Also the airflow restriction is should be very less, so it will give you the more volumetric efficiency for the engine performance, as well as the increased contamination loading capacity. So when you place a particular air filter element into the system, it will collect the dust from the air. So you should have the large dust holding capacity, so you at least increase your the service interval for the changing the filters. So the overall and another challenge is like to design a air intake system which is having very lighter in the weight, so very lighter in weight, also sustain for the high temperature which is created by the exhaust gas after treatment devices. Also the underbonnet temperatures are now very high for the BS4 and BS6 norms. And also the proven performance and durability is requirement is very high in nowadays for the design point of view, as well as validation should be very high for the vibrations which we are getting for the construction equipment. Compact design is also a now latest requirement which creates a new technology in the air intake system design nowadays. So I will go through that in my earlier slide. I will go through that for the next slides for this design changes. What is like now a requirement for the new air intake system. So the types of filtration which is in the air filter is like the wet type of air filter and the dry type of air filter. So what is wet type of air filters? Like The dust contamination from the air, which is eliminated by the oil filter, like the oil is flowing in the filter element, like which is made by like cotton or some synthetic fibers, will or paper mesh kind of thing, paper mesh kind of material will typically flow a little more in terms of CFM because it is has a lot larger micron size material. The benefits for the wet type is like the cleaning process for oil filters are a bit like higher because it eliminates like the micro larger micron size material from the air. But but like if you will talk about the cleaning process for oil filters, it's bit more expensive than dry flow because you need to change the oil in the system, as well as like you need to change many oil changing process is very difficult compared to the dry air filter elements. And it's also difficult for installation compared to dry filters because you will get some leakage problem if you are not installing the wet filters properly into the machine. If you don't oil, you can cause damage to the internal engine parts, where in the dry filter it's not like that. So that dry type of filters is the dirt removed by cloth, paper, microfiber elements, which is like having a 15 micron to maybe 30 micron size. And dry filters requires less maintenance and easy servicing and installation. So the dry filters type, what are the filters types which we are using in the automobile nowadays is like single stage and the second stage. The single stage is nothing like we have one filter element placed on the inside the air intake body, which use the light, which is using like in the scenario where the concentration environment is very less, like automobile sector, cars, fastest car, in the like normal running cars. And the light, it is in lightweight generally with no pre-cleaner, where the design of grills act as a mesh or trash grill. So in this, like we don't need the pre-cleaner, but the design of the grills where we are placing the air intake system, it will act as a pre-cleaner for them. The second stage, or it is also called as a dual stage. This type of filters we are using in the system, like where in the machines where like the machines are running in the heavy or dusty environment. So majorly like mostly it is using like in the construction equipment or the off highway or some construction equipments or forestry kind of equipments. So like the two filter elements are placed inside the air intake body, where the first filter we are calling this kind of filter is a primary filter, and this kind of a filter is a secondary filter. So the first diagram we are seeing is single stage filter, and the second diagram is about the dual stage filter. So second stage filter is medium and heavy duty concentration environment. Safety, sometimes like the secondary filter element is also called as a safety element, where the secondary filter is made of cotton kind of things. It's not a paper mesh, so it will just placed in the system when we clean the primary filter element, so that the machine in the standing condition of the dusty environment, when you are cleaning the primary filter element, the dust should not go into the engine chamber. So now we talk about the filter elements, like it's made of cotton or already synthetic paper or foam kind of materials. These two filter elements. So the secondary filter elements is the second type, is like the secondary filter is also having a paper mesh kind of filter. So the air has to pass through the these two filter elements, so it will give you the proper cleaning efficiency, and the efficiency for this cleaning is like almost 99.9% in the dusty environment. So this kind of filters we are already talked, like it is going to use in on or off highway or industrial and with moderate dust kind of concentration environment. In the service interval comparison, if you talk about the safety or secondary filter element, when we need to change the filter elements when it is going to be dirt, or it is dirt is accumulated on the filter, and our restriction indicator blinks on the machines, like we need to change the, or we need to clean the air filter elements. The life of the safety or secondary filter element is almost three times compared to the primary filter element. When you clean 2 or 3 times the primary filter element, and if you are going to replace the primary filter element suppose in 1000 hours, then you need to replace the secondary filter element almost in 2000 hours. So the life is almost dual or two times compared to primary filter element. So here we talked about already. So generally off-road and industrial requirement with heavy dust in the air. So now we come about the filter element. So there are lots of lot kinds of there are lots of filter elements which are available available like in the market. So sometimes like the radial seal filter elements like this is also providing the structural rigidity to the filter elements, as well as like it is holding the whole element so that the element is equispaced. Like if you talk about the mesh size, the micro elements which is like fiber mesh is like, so the equispaced is created in the filter element. So the like when you clean the air filter element, it is very important like you don't hit the air filter element, so that equispaced filter mesh should not damage. Some kinds of the filter end caps like designed to protect the filter media and provide the structural integrity, and axial filter seals. So this axial filter seals is like used for the gasket to ensure the leak free seal when you place the filter element in the intake body. So you have to the proper sealing between the air intake body and the filter element. So this kind of filter elements like this is if we talk about the radiator seal, it is also acting as a sealing element. So it provides a complete seal between the air intake body and the filter element. And we talk about the equispaced elements, like it's a pleatic media spacing ensures that the uniform pleat spacing keeps filter media from bunching. And heavy duty liners, so heavy duty liners like where it is going to be used in a very high vibration environment. So the corrosion resistant coated steel liners support the filter media during operation and maximize the airflow. And to support the filter elements or the media or the paper mesh, it has to applied with the beading liner. So it holds the media in a very better way. So we talked about the DSC requirement for the new engines, like the dust holding capacity for the air filter element. So nowadays, like we are going for from the natural aspirated engine to the turbocharger and turbocharger engine to the like dual turbocharger. So the our breathing efficiency is going very high, and the volumetric efficiency requirement is very high. So when you suck more and more airflow to the engine compartment, so the dust which is coming from the air is also increasing. So you need to have very high dust holding capacity requirement for the air filter elements. So if we talk about the heavy duty concentration medium, and it's like construction equipment, so this is like industrial kind of equipments, and this is on-road equipments, and this is like marine equipments. So in the marine, like in the sea level, there is the dust concentration on the air is very less, and on road is also like we are getting the fresh air into the engine when we are running the vehicle. And industrial, the speed of the vehicle is very slow, so the medium dust environment is there. And in the heavy, like we have a high dust concentration for the construction equipment. So if you see this curve is like the dust holding capacity, dust which is coming, like the dust concentration, like if suppose 100 gram per 1000 cfm. So if you will talk about the 25 gram coming into the cfm, so the dust holding capacity for requirement for the construction equipments are very high compared to the industry requirements, and then compared to the on road. So when we are talking about the dust holding capacity, it is like it's the like creation of the innovation kind of the air filters and the filter media which can hold the more amount of dirt into the system without so that the service interval or the service interval, if you will talk about the service interval or change interval, the requirement for the air filter element is very high. So if you replace the filter by 1000 hours, and some cars are offering like 2000 hours, so the cost for the customers are very less. So the dust holding capacity should be very high. If we talk about the high power from the engine without detonation need more airflow in the CFM, and the charge air could introduce to more dense air. So for volumetric efficiency, to increase the volumetric efficiency, we have introduced the turbocharger, which is pressurizing the air, and we have also introduced the charge air cooler, which is like cooling the air before going into the intake manifold. So doing this, the requirement for the dust holding capacity has increased while going for the BS4 and the BS6 norms. So today my lecture is going to end here, and I'm going to speak about more on the air intake system in the my next part. If you like this video, please subscribe on my channel as well as like it. So hello guys, that's all from my side. I will talk about more on the air intake selection. I will talk about more on the I will talk about more on the air intake selection, how to select that, what is like the requirement of the service, what is do's and don'ts for the air intake system. Please watch my next video, which will be the continuation part for this. And please do like and subscribe my video if you like this information beneficial.